What was it that turned one of Batman's greatest villains into the villain that he is today? This is Ra's al Ghul, One Bad Day, which is a series of one-off storylines telling us the history of Batman's greatest villains. Before we get into it, let's explain the pronunciation for Ra's. Raz and Ra's are both correct. The animated series said Ra's, the movie said Raz. The Arabic pronunciation is Raz, while the Hebrew one is Ra's. The original creator chose to use the Hebrew pronunciation, and therefore that is what was carried over into the animated series, while the movie chose to lean more into his Arabic background and call him Raz. Both are correct, as we have media using both and contradicting each other. For today, I'll be using Ra's al Ghul. This is Comicstorian. We take comic books and turn them into audio dramas for you to enjoy. The point of this is to allow you to know what's going on in the world of comics and add things to your collection at your local comic book store or digital retailers. We make two main types of videos. Complete stories are 2 to 3 issues of a arc, containing whatever I put into the title, while full stories are the entire arc, normally 6 to 50 issues, and a collection of our shorter videos. But today, we have a single one-off issue known as Ra's al Ghul, One Bad Day. Now let's begin this origin. Ra's was only 7 when he witnessed true horror. The invaders came and attacked his village and left not a single person alive. With blood soaking through his clothing that wasn't his own, Ra's ran into the forest hoping that they would protect him. However, he was wrong. He could hear the heavy footsteps of the conqueror behind him. He was only a child against a trained soldier. Ra's felt the blistering heat burn against his leg as he fell to the ground, and then a heavy boot pressing his feet into the wet dirt. He thought that this was it, that this was his end. But as his mouth filled with mud and crushed insects, the forest saved him. The wolves tore into the attacker, and Ra's ran, jumping into the water, letting it carry himself away. It's the same thing every time he comes back from death. Every time he wakes up in the Lazarus pit, he forgets the world that he's being reborn into. Instead, he remembers what was, and then it comes to the shock of the present. And that's when the rage arrives, the realization of where he is. Ra's rises out of the steaming green liquid and is reminded of who he is, that he is Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head, and he is safe. He is loved, and whatever horror he is living has already passed. However, Talia doesn't understand. She can't. It's not the past horrors that overwhelm him. It's the realization of everything that this world has lost in the many lifetimes that he has. Everything that has been brutally torn away by the blight of humanity. And through the many lifetimes, Ra's has watched cities fall under the weight of their own greed. Forests and all within cleared for farmland and finally be taken by the desert. As for the wolves that saved his young life, they were hunted by cowards, slaughtered by selfish wretches who felt that they had a greater right to this world than any other creature. Ra's places his hand on a wolf, petting her, stating, "Hello, old friend." Her name is Najia. She was found when she was a cub, tortured in a cave, and Ra's immediately knew what she was. So he slaughtered her captors with his bare hands. He saved her, as her ancestors saved him, and she has walked beside him for 19 years. She has been his friend, and now she is old and scared, and she is so alone. Not because she faces the end, but because she is the last. Ra's has outlived so many in his long life, parents, wives, children, and it has hardened his heart against death. But as the eyes of an entire species close for the last time, the grief of this loss is impossible to hold at bay. He is witnessing an extinction. So the next day, off of the coast of Gotham, Gerald Edwards relaxes on his yacht when suddenly the captain runs down to inform him that they've all just lost communications with navigation, that they're currently sailing blind. But before Gerald could even ask as to why, his answer presented itself to him in the form of a shadow looming over. As the hatch of the flying airship opens up, Ra's stands on the edge, telling the man, "Take out the security. Do not harm Edwards or his son." Within seconds, the security detail is taken down, and Ra's holds up a recorder telling the captain to repeat after him, "Mayday, Mayday. There was an explosion in the engine room. We're going down." Gerald asks, "Who the hell are you?" And Raish tells him, "We will come to me in a moment, Captain." At that moment, Gerald's son climbs out of the pool, asking who does he think that he is. "You can't threaten us. You have no idea who you're messing with." In a flash, Raish pulls his sword, slicing the young man's throat, causing him to fall to his knees, clutching the wound. Gerald yells as he tries to run to his son's side, but Raish stops him. "I have a question for you. A question about the empire that you have built, about the harm that you have done. When did you decide that you were more important than tomorrow? Perhaps you were born this way, to be another conqueror, another destroyer, another parasite. Or was it nurtured? Were you lied to as a child, told that you were special, exceptional, worth more than an animal? Was it arrogance or ignorance? Maybe you simply cannot comprehend that it is to forfeit the world to come. If that is the case, allow me to help illustrate." Raish wraps both hands around Gerald's son's bleeding neck and with a sharp twist, snaps it. Gerald screams, but Raish takes him. "Don't worry. You won't be here to see what comes next. You and your kind will be replaced by your betters." Raish walks towards the pool, taking Gerald by the neck, holding him under. To many, if not all, the sinking of Gerald Edwards' yacht seemed like a freak accident, except to one man. The one that Raish refers to as the detective. However, Batman didn't just notice that the ship sank in calm waters, but that Gerald Edwards also happened to be a friend of his father's. Damian asks, why would anyone want him dead? Batman tells him that he is the owner and CEO of Rox Corp. Damian says, right, so everyone wants him dead. But there's something else that Batman notices. 2 weeks ago, the owner of NH Petroleum fell skiing. He hit his head, and he died. A month before that, Jeffrey Tanner, a media mogul, had a stroke. 3 high-profile corporate deaths in a short amount of time. Damian says that they have a ship malfunction, a skiing accident, and a man who died of natural causes. Batman tells him, there's a pattern. Let's go. Later, deep in the ocean, Batman takes the Batmobile close to the sunken ship of Gerald Edwards, and Damian asks what exactly are they looking for. Batman swims out, telling him that he won't know until he's found it. So Damian says that the police divers have already investigated this wreck. They said that there were no signs of foul play. Batman goes lower, finding a gun in the pool, and Damian says that it's not entirely out of place for Edwards to have security. Batman pulls the magazine. Yes, but that doesn't explain why 2 bullets are missing. Later, Batman goes to the coroner to examine Gerald's body, but since the cause of death is drowning, they didn't think much of it from there. But Batman, he already knew. He tells the coroner to look into his lungs. She says yes, they found chlorine, meaning that Gerald Edwards drowned in the yacht's pool, not the ocean. Batman next goes to visit the one person who would have benefited the most from Gerald's death, his daughter Julia. Batman learns that Julia and her father were not very close, mostly because she was actually against her father's methods when it came to business. She didn't want to be associated with how Rox Corp dealt strictly with fossil fuels and would rather have seen them diversify. It was the main reason that her brother Harry was more close to him and next in line. Batman then asks if she ever met a man named Ra's al Ghul. She says no, but she is certain that she knows his daughter, Talia. Talia is a friend and a great advisor. As the pieces slowly begin to fall into place, Batman investigates the 3 deaths, telling Damian that he is sending over a list. Damian sits at the Bat computer asking what he is looking at, and Batman tells him the 30 people responsible for the most environmental damage to the planet. Owners and operators of mining, fossil fuels, manufacturing, agriculture, social media, and traditional media empires. 3 of these people are now dead, and this isn't about the 3 who died, but it's about the 3 who replaced them. They've all publicly stated that their intention is to take the companies in a new, less harmful direction. Damian is confused. Is that a bad thing? Batman tells him that he believes Raish's plans are to replace these people. That makes this a hit list, and that they're going to reach out and get surveillance and protection in place of all of those people. Damian then asks, should we really be safeguarding the worst people on Earth? Batman? Father? As the connection fades, another voice tells him that he is gone, and he won't listen. He doesn't want to be challenged. Damian looks back to see Ra's standing there. The Batman believes in preserving life. That's hardly a bad thing. It's time for you to come home, grandson. No. And then Damian looks around at all of the ninjas surrounding him, and Raish tells him, "That was not a request." Later, the Bat Jet comes screaming through the Himalayas, just as Raish predicted that it would, and as Talia and the others surround it, they see that there is no one piloting it. Raish watches from his control room until he hears a slam, and Batman storms in demanding to know where Damian is. League of Assassins members spring from the shadows attacking, but there is no stopping Batman. And after brutally knocking out several assassins, Raish yells to stop, holding his sword to Damian's neck. Batman slams the man into a wall, telling him, "He is my grandson! You won't harm him!" But Raish tells him that he still doesn't understand. No life is worth more than the future. Not ours, not his. You are a man of singular purpose. Do you really doubt the conviction in me? Batman pauses for a moment, letting go, allowing the assassins to capture him. Raish then walks over, telling him that he understands what he does. He doesn't want anyone to suffer like he did as a child, and that's admirable. He believes every life is worth preserving. But he is wrong. No one life is worth more than the future. My grandson's future. I have been working on this for a decade, maneuvering in boardrooms with stakeholders, moving the pieces, ensuring the right people are in place when the climate criminals fall. People will bring about the change that they need. You and your friends have fought for this planet time and time again, and for that I am grateful. But today, all that I ask of you to save the world is to step aside. I will not let you kill any more people. This is not heroism. This is sabotage. I will be taking you in for the murder of Gerald Edwards and Harry Edwards, along with the suspected murders of... Raish sighs. I am done trying to reason with you, and he stabs Batman in the stomach with his sword. Damian screams from his binding, trying to fight his way over to his father, and as he frees himself, Raish tells the others to leave him. Let him say his goodbyes. Batman takes off his mask. This is now yours. I also know that you're going to be angry. How easy it will be to succumb to that anger. How much you'll turn your grief into violence. But you have to promise me, you will never take a life. Damian fights back the tears. And Batman takes his hand. Promise me. Promise, son. Please. Damian finally looks back, telling him that he promises. And with that, Batman draws his final breath. Raish walks up to the detective. He was right. I never would have harmed you. But I did what I did because I had to make sure that there was no more interference. One day, you'll understand. Damian cries as he pulls on the mask, listening to Raish speak. But as he finishes, he gets up, slamming a dagger into Raish's shoulder. The assassins get ready to attack, but Raish holds up his hand. Wait! Damian didn't hit anything vital. But the only reason that I am still breathing is because he made a promise to his father. After several more months, Raish's plan to slowly replace those in power with more suitable substitutes continued. And through all of it, many more were killed. And it was all for the future. More and more fall. More and more were replaced. All the way down to the last one. And as soon as the final piece was placed, Batman began to breathe life once more. He gasped as he clawed his way out of the Lazarus pit, and Damian was there telling him to take it easy, go slow. He'll be all right. Batman asked how long, and Damian told him that it's been some time. It's been 3 months. Damian continues, stating that his grandfather achieved what he set out to do. Batman begins to suit up, asking where is he, and Damian tries to reason with him to slow down. But Raish activates the intercom, telling him that he is here. Now come! I'll be outside. Batman walks outside in the snow, and Raish tells him that he didn't have to bring him back. There was no reason to fight anymore. It is done. Batman picks up a sword from the ground. For me, it's not done. No. The most destructive people across the earth have been replaced by those committed to a better future. None of the people that I have put there have had any hand in the deaths of their predecessors. If you expose the truth, what happens? You're a detective. Put the pieces together. Batman knows what it would do, the potential of dooming the planet. He knows that he must choose between his code and the world. And there is no choice. In a flash, the cliffside is filled with the sounds of swords clashing together, along with the men wielding them shouting. The two easily are a match for one another, neither taking any damage from the other, and that is until Batman manages to disarm Raish, pointing his sword at his throat. What? Now are you going to kill me, detective? Never. And Batman punches him. Damien needs to see that your way isn't the way. He needs to see that criminals are punished. Raish coughs up blood, looking towards Damien. He did this for you. And then crawls to the edge of the cliff, throwing himself off, landing on the ledge far below. Though this time, as Raish steps out of the Lazarus pool, there is no uncontrollable scream of rage or grief. With the realization of everything that has been lost still hitting, today, he is reborn with something new. The knowledge of everything that he may have preserved. He is 700 years old, and for the first time in a long time, he's no longer terrified. And that is Raish Al Ghul, One Bad Day. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We're going to try these One Bad Day videos again. The Riddler one that we did months ago did not do well. There's a Bane one, a Penguin one. There's a whole bunch of these One Bad Day stories about the villains. And I love Batman's Rogues Gallery, so most of these I truly have enjoyed. If you want to know more about these, click the link down below to bring you to our Amazon link where you can buy them or the whole series, or you can, check out the rest of the videos as we put them out. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time right here.